Hello and welcome to the United Stand. 5 things José Mourinho still needs to fix at Manchester United. Big show, get a pen and paper, get your thinking caps on because it's not as simple as it sounds. Some people seem to think that the signing of Alexis Sanchez and what we've got going on at the club, we don't really need to do anything else. We could win the title as things stand. Let's face it, we are 12 points behind. I think we're more than that, aren't we? I lose track of how many points we are by Manchester City. It's a long, long way. We're by no means, I would say, we're not even in the top 4 favourites for the Champions League. We're not going to win the League Cup, and the FA Cup's still got a while to go. And that's even with Alexis Sanchez in it. The progress graph is going up, and that's the most important thing after years of dipping since Sir Alex Ferguson went. But it would be a naive Manchester United fan, I believe, to think that there aren't still issues in relation to Manchester United and big issues that still need to be solved. So get your thinking hat on, like I said, get your comments in below and give us your thoughts on what you believe Manchester United need to still solve in these next few months stroke year, because can we win the title next year? I saw somebody last night on the fan cams, James, who's becoming a bit of a regular, saying that he doesn't expect United to win the title next year. He expects more progress, but still doesn't think we'll be quite ready next season. It'll be the season after that. Which when I heard it, I thought, you know what, very pragmatic, intelligent view there from James, but are we willing to wait another season after this one? Are we willing to be in Manchester City's shadow again next season, thinking about the season after that? For me, no. No, I think that Firmino. Oh, no, that's Liverpool, isn't it? But for me, no. For me, no. I'm not willing to do that. It's the only way Firmino's ever going to get in on a United channel. Enough of that. I think we can win the title next year, and I think the things that I'm going to discuss and hopefully you're going to interact with and agree with, and maybe you can add something to the party as well. These are the things that I believe that Manchester United still need to improve to get us back to where we need to be. Now, I said this a few weeks ago. Number one, when it comes to transfers, and there's still a few days left of this transfer window, and maybe, just maybe, there might just be a little bit of movement. I heard Paul Ince saying, and he's not the best. He said he expects 4 major signings for Manchester United in the summer. I don't. I believe Mourinho when he says there might only be 2, and I've got no issue with that. I've said it before. But what I do have an issue with, and it's an issue I think Manchester United have started to move towards, and we need to stick on that path. I said it a few weeks ago before we even knew we were going to sign Alexis Sanchez. I think it was around the time we were getting linked to Malcolm and Lucas Moura. And I said, these are not the signings Manchester United need to make at the moment. We need to be making signings now that the rest of the football world, i.e. the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the Manchester Cities, they go, we would have liked them. We would have liked them, because that's how we'll improve. That's how we'll close gaps ahead of us. That's how we'll be Champions League contenders. That's how we'll close the gap with Manchester City, is by buying players that those clubs would like to have. We've got to sign players. And it's just a statement. It doesn't necessarily mean that club, but we've got to sign players that Real Madrid would want. And if we are doing that, then we are doing the right thing. And it's about quality, not quantity. We saw quantity under Van Gaal, your Darmians, your Blins, and we all got excited about the signings, the Schweinsteigers, the Schneidlings. We got excited about them, but the vast majority of them didn't work for varying reasons, because we went with quantity over quality. Falcao was a quantity signing. He wasn't the player he was before. So we've got to go with quality. That is essential. This summer, I mean, if we can get Ozil before the end of the transfer window, great. There's a slim chance we could do it. He is a quality player. He was at Real Madrid. He could still play for a Barcelona. They are linked to him. So Ozil would be a player I'd go for. But we've got to sign top quality players. And if it is only two, I'm fine with that. And the 2 players, whether it's a Dybala and a Milankovic-Savic, or it's a Fabinho and a Bale, they're the quality 2 players. We can't go and just sign 2 players in the summer and it be Malcolm and Seri. There's too much risk there. They're like, yeah, they could be fantastic players, but there's too much risk there. If we're only bringing 2 in, it's got to be quality. If you bring in 4 in, if you're bringing in Seri, Fabinho, Malcolm and Moura, well, you're spreading your bets there. It's 4 players, 2 wingers, 2 midfielders. That's quantity. But if we're only bringing 2 in, you've got to go quality. So for me, like I said, it's got to be Milankovic-Savic and a Dybala, or a Bale and a Fabinho. 2 quality players in the summer to add to what we've got. And the other thing I'm going to mention in a minute. But a sort of a shoot off that, because that is the first thing we've got to do. A shoot off that is one of them's got to be a Carrick replacement. Carrick's coming towards the end, being a superb servant for the club, really ran that midfield, and one of the signings we're making this summer has got to be, and I think it will be, a character replacement, and it's got to be, you know, creme de la menthe signing. I mean, a lot of people mention Tony Kroos. I'd love us to get Tony Kroos. I don't think we can sign Tony Kroos, but it's got to be that sort of player. It really has, and I hope you're listening, Jose, because he has got to listen. He's got to. He doesn't have to listen to us, but I think this is the sort of thing he's going to do anyway. But this is how we improve Manchester United, and I'm sure he is fully aware of that as well. The second point is, and this is really, really important, very, very important. He's got to use Fosu Mensah, Pereira and Twansibi next season as first team players who play regularly for the first team. They are ready. They are ready. They will be like new signings, and they are the process, or the reason that we may only need to sign 2 players. Because if we had 2 world-class players or top-class signings in the summer, and then you bring Fosu Mensah, Pereira, Twansibi in, they're like 3 new signings. Fosu Mensah can play midfield, right back and centre back. Twansibi can do the same, and Pereira can play anywhere in the midfield and in attacking positions. They cost nothing. They're from our youth setup. They're massive ticks in the box anyway. But the fact that they are ready first team players for Manchester United, and they are good enough, they must be utilised. They must be utilised. And then the transfers don't matter so much. But bringing youth through does. The kudos and the appreciation and the love Mourinho will get, on top of the love he's already getting, it's a no-brainer, Jose. It's a no-brainer. And the fact is, I've seen Kieran Richardson, I've seen Wes Brown, John O'Shea, Darren Fletcher, varying levels of ability. Was I ever confident that they should play first team football? With a couple of them, I liked Wes Brown and I did like Darren Fletcher, but the quality that with, the Welbecks, you want them to do it because they're from the youth setup, but in your head you're like, yeah, they do have issues, glaring issues in their ability. When it comes to Fosu Mensah, Twansibi and Pereira, I can't say they're definitely going to succeed because they've got to be given that opportunity. But everything I've seen about them over the last few years and what they've done this season, I think they're ready, and I think they are good enough. And when you are saying players are good enough to be Manchester United first team players, how exciting is that we could have 3 on top of Lingard and Rashford as well? We are heading in exactly the direction we need to do. He's got to use them. That is point 2. He's got to use them, and also Woodward will be rubbing his hands together because he'll be like, I ain't got to spend money. And these lads, Twansibi, Pereira and Fosu Mensah, in the current market, if you were buying that young talent in, which I would recommend we did, you're talking 100 million. So it's a no-brainer. They must be used. They must be used. And it goes in with the point 1 as well. Point 3 is we need a Paul Pogba replacement. We need a Paul Pogba replacement. I mean, we were that desperate for a Paul Pogba replacement that I even said Ross Barkley would be a good signing. Obviously, he went to Chelsea. And see, I know he's only played a little bit for Chelsea, but I always said it was a risk to go for Ross Barkley. I never said he'd be a guaranteed player, but what I saw in Ross Barkley was somebody who, if the right manager got hold of him, he could take him from a 6/7 out of 10 player to an 8/9 out of 10 player. He's Premier League proven. He's British. He's quite creative. He's quite quick on the ball. He likes to run with the ball, and he plays in that offensive position, but he's good at getting a tackle in. Basically, one of the few players in... This is the problem with Pogba. There's not many players like Pogba. There aren't many players like Pogba who effectively can do the defensive side of the game. He's very physical, he's very quick. But offensively, he's virtually... There aren't players like that who dribble with the ball, who can switch the play with the ball, who can shoot from 40 yards with the ball. He's bordering on irreplaceable. That's the problem. But we've got to find a solution, because I think the balance of our midfield, when Pogba's not there, weights too much towards the defensive side of the game, weighs too much to the sideway passing of the game. If you think about Herrera, and Herrera's got it in his locker to play these passes, he just doesn't do it much this season. Matic, he's got it in his locker as well. Fellaini hasn't, McTominay hasn't, and Carrick is obviously going to retire. So our midfield, when you take Pogba out of it, becomes a bit of a crab midfield, side-to-side passing. We need to bring a midfielder in who's got that offensive thought in his head, looking forward. Because when Pogba gets injured, suspended, which he will do, we become a worse team because of it. So there needs to be a Pogba replacement. Now, whether that is Pereira's given a go, or whether McTominay develops, or whether another youth player is given a chance, personally I think we need to go and sign somebody I've mentioned a couple of players. Milenkovic-Savic can definitely do it. I think we need to go and buy a player that can, I wouldn't say push Pogba out or push him for his place, because Pogba is the number one, isn't he? But we do need somebody that Pogba can have a rest. Pogba when he's injured. We've got to have that, because we are 12 points behind Manchester City. But look at that. Look at our October / half of September when Pogba was out. How many points did we drop? Off the top of my head, I think with Pogba, we would have took at least another 6 points. Then you're within 6 points of City at this point, and we could put some pressure on them. So we're not in a title race because we didn't have a replacement for Pogba. So we need a Pogba replacement, and he will have to probably come from those 2 signings that I think Mourinho's talking about. One of which needs to be a midfielder. One of them needs to be more of an attacking player. I'll add into there, because a lot of people say we need a Lukaku backup. I don't think we do need a Lukaku backup. I believe if Lukaku got injured, you could put Rashford there, you could put Martial there. That's 2 players you can play in that position. You could also put Alexis Sanchez in there. I know Zlatan's going to go, but we've pretty much done without Zlatan for nearly a year now. Yes, you could go and get a player in who's a goal scorer who can go on the bench, but that's detrimental to Rashford. That's detrimental to potentially Martial and Sanchez, because they can play that role. I look at what we've got coming through in the team with people like Angel Gomez and Tahith Chong. I don't want their development to be held back by us just going to get somebody who can go on the bench and score goals. Hernandez was somebody I'd be quite interested in, but ultimately I don't think we need to go and spend money on that sort of a player. I don't think we do. So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. The fourth thing, and moving to a little bit about how we play football now. The ball from the back to the front, we need to eliminate this side passing. We are too slow from the back to the front. Too slow. And that is something that, to be fair, has been pretty consistent in the time we've been managed by Mourinho. And it does go back to Mourinho's sort of style of football that he has hinted at developing. And I think Sanchez will take us a long way forward with that. But what we tend to do is, in all 3 stages of the Manchester United team, is when we get the ball, we're a little bit static and slow. We allow the opposition to get back into position too quickly. Now, I don't want to blow wind up the opposition, especially rivals that I don't like. But in fairness to Manchester City, in fairness to Liverpool, even Spurs and Arsenal, when they are in the attack, they stretch teams because they don't take a second to play a sideways pass or look up and think about it. It's bang, 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 quick movement, quick maths. 2 + 2 is 4 - 3. That's quick maths. That's 1 quick maths. I had to fit that in, but it is true. It is quick maths, because quick ball is quick maths. If you are a defender, or if you've played as a defender, put yourself in that situation. It's a few years ago from me, but the last thing I wanted was movement, quick movement, and not having time to get yourself into position. And that's what Liverpool and City do. They move it really quick, and they've got quick movement off the ball, so it's very hard for defenders to get themselves set, get their formation set. United, on the other hand, allow that to happen. You look at the opposition, we are so slow in that final third and through the midfield that the opposition always get themselves back into position, which causes problems for us. Alexis Sanchez, Anthony Martial will thrive if we get them quick ball, because what they want to do is get going at the goal, whether it's a quick pass or whatever. But we never get it quick enough to Martial, and hopefully we'll change that with Sanchez, because by the time Martial gets the ball, he will have 3 or 4 players on him because the opposition are set. This is because we're not getting the ball quick enough from the back and the midfield to the forward. Pogba can do it, but too many times we're looking at a pass. I mean, even Lingard in that number 10 position, he's getting better. I like Lingard when he gets the ball, turns round and runs. But when you look at his passing, Lingard's a very sideways or backwards passer. He doesn't look forward with his passing. He's brilliant when he turns and runs forward, but he does sideways pass and backwards pass a lot. And so does Mata. I'm not highlighting players to pick on them. Mata does it a lot as well. Herrera obviously does it. Matic does it. Martial has to do it a lot, because by the time he gets the ball, there's not space in front of him. And, that's almost the same for Lingard and Mata as well. We need to be quicker in moving the ball from back to front. And that will make a hell of a lot of difference. We will catch teams on the break, and we will be far more entertaining. How we do that? Well, it's a mentality. It's an approach. And it can be done. Occasionally we've done it. When we were 4-0 FC, we were doing it in the last few minutes of games. We were stat padding in some sense, scoring 3 or 4 goals in the last 10 minutes of games, because the opposition at 1-0, they feel they've got a chance, so they go for it. The space opens up, And Manchester United, we use that space. We're quick. But we don't do it for most of the game. We'll only do it when the game's sort of comfortable. And we need to do it more often in games that aren't. So that's one thing. The second thing is, point 5, is crossing. Manchester United, for as long as I can remember, and as long as I've been watching them, has always been a side. It's fundamental. It's in our ethos. It's in our psyche. It's ingrained in our club. If you ask oppositions, what do you think of when you think about Manchester United successful? It's the width. We've always been the width. Whether it was Gary Neville and Beckham, or Giggs down the left, or Evra and Ronaldo, we've always been about the width. And going back further than that, people like George Best, Koppel, it goes on and on and on. Manchester United have always been about the width. Up until Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement. Moyes couldn't do it. Van Gaal couldn't do it. And Mourinho doesn't really do it. But it's a quick win. It's a quick win because we need to use it more. Because at Old Trafford, you almost subconsciously get engaged and enthusiastic and loud as a crowd if you see United bombing down the wing in the first 5-10 minutes and getting the crowd up. It's what Sir Alex Ferguson used to do. He'd just say to Gary Neville, give the ball to Beckham and bomb past him, and then Beckham give it back, get a cross in, Scholesy bomb into the box, and even if you don't get on the end of it, you've got the crowd in your hand already. They're up, they're pumped. It's in our, like I say, it's in the Manchester United Old Trafford faithful sort of subconscious psyche, and we don't do it enough. And we need to get that Old Trafford crowd on side, and we need to entertain them, and we need to use the width more. Of course, we don't use the width. One obvious thing about the width is we've got a lot of tall players. We've got Lukaku, who loves a good cross. We've got Pogba, who's tall. We've got Matic, who's tall. We've got tall defenders like Smalling and Bailly. We're a very tall. We've still got Fellaini. We're a very tall side, and when we put decent crosses into the box, we're a huge threat. The reality is we don't put crosses into the box because we haven't got anybody who can put a cross in the box, apart from Ashley Young when he's coming back on his right foot. We don't put decent crosses into the box. We're ignoring the width, and it's almost like, oh, we're not going to do something that actually we'd be very good at because we've got the height, and also it's a quick win with the crowd because they love it. They absolutely love it. So I want to see Manchester United using the width more. The issue we've got with that is, if we are going to sign, where's the winger? Where is the winger? We know Mourinho wanted Perisic last summer. Is he going to go and get a winger this summer? Because if he's only signing 2 players, I think most of us agree we still need a number 10 and we need a midfielder of real quality. So where is the winger? Who is the player who can put crosses into the box? Because if we've got somebody who can put a decent cross into the box, we are suddenly going to score 5 more goals a season in the Premier League. We are suddenly going to have another way of attacking teams that will create space and make them pull out wide to try and stop crosses, which will create space in the middle. It's a string to our bow that's been cut for a long time, and we need to tie it back up and start playing it far, far more. We've been speaking about it all year. I just think Lukaku is starved of a source of goals that he'd be very, very good at, but we don't put crosses in the box. And it's the Manchester United way, and it shouldn't die. Width is still, as far as I can remember, there's still a right-hand side and a left side of a football pitch. And people can say width is dead and wingers are dead. They're not. They're not. It's not an easy... Look, I've played centre-back and I played football to a decent level. And defending a cross into that danger zone, when it's a natural right-wing cross or a natural left-wing cross, curling across behind the defender in front of the keeper into that penalty spot sort of area, very hard to defend as a defender when you're facing your own goal. Very hard to get to quickly if you're a goalkeeper off your line if it's a decent quick cross. Brilliant to get on the end off if you're a striker or a midfielder attacking it. We must do it more. We must do it more. How we're going to do that, I'm not hearing anything about wingers. I'm not hearing anything about us bringing a winger in. I mean, there are players out there who can do it. And if they're not, then we need to develop players who can do it. I don't see somebody in the squad at the moment who's got that ability to skip past the player and put a nice cross in. To be honest with you, Luke Shaw, naturally on the left, he can do it. Pereira could come back and do it from the right. But we need to find and develop that sort of option to our game. So, in conclusion, or no, not conclusion. In summary, number 1. These are the 5 things Mourinho needs to do at Manchester United to make us better. 5 issues that still need to be solved. 1, only sign players that Real Madrid would sign. Not literally the Real Madrid, but you know what I mean. Only sign players that the best teams in the world would sign. No more of these gambles on people like, you know, Mkhitaryan or a Lucas Moura or a Daley Blind. The creme de la menthe signing, the top signings, especially if we're only going to make 2, they've got to be top class signings that come in and drastically improve us. No more quantity signings, let's go quality. Number 2, use Fosu Mensah, Twansibi, Pereira. Use them next season as new signings. They're good enough. They're from the youth setup. They're like 3 new signings, like I say. They're quick wins. The crowd will love it, and they're good enough, and they'll boost our squad. They must be first team players next season. Not necessarily starting, but they're on the bench. They're not just like, oh, young kids, let's give them 5 minutes in the League Cup. They're part of the squad week in, week out. Number 3, Pogba replacement. There must be a Pogba replacement that comes into the team. When he's been out this season, it's the reason we're not closer to City than we are, and it's the reason the title race is over. We need a player who isn't a sideways passer, is somebody who's offensive, looking to create, looking to move forward from the midfield. Because when Pogba drops out of our team, it's a massive gaping hole. On from that, the ball from the back to the front needs to be quicker. We need to expose teams, not allow them to get set quick enough and move the ball faster than we do at the moment. No more sideways, backwards passing. Get direct, quick passes, quick movement, quick maths. And number 5, like I said, let's use the bloody width. Let's find a way to use the width. It's in our club psyche. Use it. Get down the width. Find somebody who can put crosses into the box naturally and use the height that we've got. It's a quick win again. Lots of quick wins in there. 5 ways to improve Manchester United. There are still issues, and I think all those are issues, but I think they're all solvable. They're not massive problems now. It's not like we need a goalkeeper, a striker, a world-class midfielder. We've got a lot of things, and we're getting very close. We're actually in a position that clubs like Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal would love to be in. We're that close. We're very close to winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, but we're not quite there, and these are the things we still need to do. Greedy? No. Factual? Yes. Get commenting below. Give us your thoughts on what you think. Please do drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. But really, I hope you've got your pen and paper and your thinking hat on, because I want to read these comments. I want to see what you think we still need to do, because I know there's a lot of things I haven't mentioned in there. There'll be some things you agree with, there'll be some things you disagree with, but make sure you keep it to a 5, because we can all come up with a list of 10. We can all get greedy and start saying, you know, I'd like to have a right back, a left back, this, that and the other, another centre back. I don't think in a realistic world they're things that would be nice to have, not needs to have. What are the 5 things that need to be done to get United to that next level? Thanks for watching. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I shall see you tomorrow. If not in the day, we'll definitely have Sunday Night Live with Sophie, me and Flex tomorrow night. So thanks for watching. Big week ahead with Spurs as well. Speak to you all soon.